Italian prosecutors have opened an investigation into the sinking of the £30 million Bayesian superyacht off the coast of Sicily last week, an incident that tragically claimed the lives of British tech billionaire Mike Lynch and 6 others. Captain James Cutfield, a 51-year-old New Zealand national, is being investigated for possible charges of manslaughter and shipwreck, according to reports from Italian newspapers La Repubblica and Corriere della Sera. Although being under investigation in Italy does not imply guilt or guarantee formal charges, the prosecutors are examining whether multiple manslaughter and causing a shipwreck through negligence might have occurred. Chief Prosecutor Ambrogio Curtosio, based in Termini Imerese, highlighted that while a sudden meteorological event struck the yacht, there is a possibility that negligence could have contributed to the tragedy. Maritime law places full responsibility on the captain for the safety of the ship and all those on board. Prosecutors have already questioned Captain Cutfield, who has reportedly been very cooperative. The investigation has revealed that some victims may have been asleep at the time of the sinking and were unable to escape. Many of the bodies were found in tight spaces with furniture on top of them, indicating that they had sought air pockets in a desperate attempt to survive. The victims included Lynch's teenage daughter Hannah, who was found alone in her cabin. Curtosio did not rule out potential homicide charges and stressed the need to establish each crew member's responsibility. One area of inquiry is whether the surviving crew members raised an alarm before abandoning the ship. Curtosio expressed a belief that offenses may have been committed, noting that there were certain behaviors not in line with the responsibilities each person had on board. The bodies of the victims were found during an extensive diving operation involving 120 trips to the wreck, which lies at the seabed. 15 of the 22 people on board, including Lynch's wife, Angela Boccarez, managed to escape on a life raft. In the aftermath of the sinking, Italian authorities faced scrutiny for not conducting alcohol and drug testing on the surviving crew members. The decision was made because the crew required medical treatment and were in shock. However, authorities have vowed to conduct thorough questioning of the crew. The Italian Coast Guard noted that no tornado warning had been issued that night, which contradicts earlier reports. In a statement to the press, Curtosio stated that the sinking could be attributed to several factors, including the captain, crew, or others responsible for the yacht's construction and supervision. He emphasized the need for time to conduct a thorough investigation before drawing conclusions, highlighting the difference between media timelines and the time required for a proper legal inquiry. The prosecution is also examining whether those who died had been alerted to the impending danger and how long the yacht took to sink. The speed of the sinking and the crew's response will be central to any manslaughter investigation. Maritime law specialist Stephen Askins suggested that the crew, likely aware of the bad weather forecast, may have been prepared and able to escape quickly. The yacht is believed to have been struck by a downburst, a sudden downward wind that can cause significant damage, and sank rapidly after the impact. Fire Service Commander Girolamo Bentivoglio Fiandra provided further details on the location of the bodies, explaining that they were found in cabins on the left-hand side of the yacht, which had become the highest point as it settled on its side at the seabed. He noted that one individual had been on watch in the cockpit when the disaster struck and had been interviewed by authorities. The prosecution has expressed a desire to raise the wreck from the seabed to examine it further, but the responsibility for this rests with the yacht's owners. The sinking has raised questions about how a vessel deemed unsinkable by its manufacturer could have succumbed to the weather while a nearby sailing ship, the Sir Robert Baden-Powell, remained largely unaffected. The emergency response to the disaster has been praised, with 27 divers, including cave experts and deep-sea divers, involved in the search operation. The divers faced significant challenges, including poor visibility and the sheer size of the yacht, which they compared to an 18-story building full of water. Despite these difficulties, all 6 missing passengers were eventually brought to shore. The Lynch family, still reeling from the tragedy, issued a statement expressing their devastation and thanking the Italian Coast Guard and emergency services for their efforts. They requested privacy during this time of immense grief. Hannah's sister, Esme, also paid tribute, describing her as a loving, caring, and passionate individual who was deeply committed to her studies and friends. Authorities are now focused on understanding the exact circumstances that led to the sinking, including whether any failures in communication or emergency protocols contributed to the disaster. The incident has raised significant concerns about safety standards and the readiness of crew members to respond to sudden emergencies, particularly on luxury yachts that cater to high-profile individuals. As the investigation continues, prosecutors remain cautious about drawing premature conclusions. Cartosio acknowledged the high level of media interest, driven by the identities of the victims and the tragic nature of the event. He stressed the need for a careful and methodical inquiry to ensure that all aspects of the sinking are thoroughly examined and any potential negligence or misconduct is appropriately addressed. The legal and personal implications of the disaster are far-reaching, with the families of the victims seeking answers and justice. The investigation will likely focus on reconstructing the events leading up to the sinking, analyzing the weather conditions, the yacht's design and safety features, and the actions of those on board. The outcome of the investigation could have significant consequences for maritime safety regulations and the responsibilities of yacht operators and manufacturers. The tragedy also casts a shadow over Mike Lynch's legacy, following his recent acquittal in a high-profile fraud case. While his death brings an end to his personal legal battles, it leaves unresolved questions about his estate's potential liabilities. As the investigation unfolds, it will continue to draw attention to the risks and responsibilities associated with luxury yachting and the critical importance of safety and preparedness at sea. Here is a list of everyone who died in the Sicily yacht disaster. 1. Jonathan Bloomer, the chairman of investment bank Morgan Stanley and past chairman of Mike Lynch's software firm Autonomy. 2. Judy Bloomer, Jonathan's wife and a lifetime psychotherapist. 3. Christopher Morvillo, a partner at law firm Clifford Chance and Mike Lynch's lawyer. 4. Nada Morvillo, Christopher's wife and a jewelry designer. 5. Mike Lynch, British tech tycoon who had just been cleared of fraud charges in the United States. 6. Hannah Lynch, Mike Lynch's 18-year-old daughter. 7. Recaldo Thomas, a chef working on board the Bayesian yacht. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more updates on celebrity deaths and news updates.